Between India and China lies a country that acts as a bridge between two worlds. It's Myanmar, a nation about the size of Texas, covering 261,000 square miles, with a level of diversity that's hard to find anywhere else in Southeast Asia. By 2025, the population is expected to hit 55 million. A large part of it is made up of native ethnic groups like the Bamar, Shan, Karen, and Chin. Each group has its own language, beliefs, and traditional clothing, forming a cultural mosaic where Burmese is the shared language that ties everyone together. The geography plays a big role in this variety. In the far north, snow-covered mountain ranges bring winter temperatures well below 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Way down south, miles of tropical beaches soak up constant sunshine, with warm waters hovering around 95 degrees Fahrenheit. This dramatic climate range shapes the local customs, food, and ways of life, all of which can change completely just a few hours down the road. The economy is shifting fast, too. Once the world's biggest rice exporter, Myanmar is now leaning into tourism, mining, and garment production. Hotels are popping up in historic cities, fashion brands are partnering with local workshops, and investors see a market that's ready to grow. Chewing betel in Myanmar is as common as grabbing a coffee in the US or ordering an espresso in Italy. Early in the morning, street vendors get to work, prepping each little bundle leaf by leaf. A fresh betel leaf, a dab of slaked lime, a slice of areca nut, and sometimes a bit of tobacco, all folded up like a mint. Just a few minutes later, your lips are stained bright red and your teeth start to darken. For outsiders, that first smile might be a little shocking, but around here, it's just part of daily life. Tuk-tuk drivers, shopkeepers, men in long yi, and even young girls in rural villages chew it constantly. The habit goes back centuries and has been part of temple fairs, weddings, and meetups for generations. And it's still going strong. A lot of Burmese folks even skip breakfast and go straight for a betel pack, swearing it warms the belly and helps them stay sharp. If you ever find yourself in Yangon, would you give one of these little bundles a try? Or are you sticking with your good old cup of coffee? Drop it in the comments. 4 for betel, 5 for coffee. Ever wonder how tradition and bravery can walk hand in hand? In the quiet streets of Yangon, the scene sticks with you. Women wrapped in colorful long yis, their faces glowing with a soft layer of thanaka, a paste made from tree bark that protects the skin and carries generations of meaning. Every step they take seems to move to the calm rhythm of a culture shaped over centuries. But behind that calm is some serious strength. According to the World Bank, nearly half of the country's small businesses are run by women, the highest percentage in Southeast Asia. From neighborhood tea houses that turn into local hangouts to studios giving traditional fabrics a modern twist, they lead with ease. In villages, they teach. In the cities, they launch tech startups and manage export businesses. In between meetings, they juggle finances, shopping, and raising kids. It's a powerful contrast. Beauty that goes way beyond looks, grounded in the resilience of women who turn challenges into chances. And this is just the beginning. There are still plenty more inspiring stories coming about how they're reshaping Myanmar's future. Stories you won't want to miss. Have you noticed how everyday life can turn into a show on social media? In Myanmar, young people post their mohinga breakfasts, the quiet calm of early morning meditation, and of course that signature swipe of thanaka that never goes out of style. But none of it feels fake. Every post blends tradition with a world that's reaching far beyond borders. And here's something most people don't know. More and more Burmese women feel totally at ease exploring international relationships. So if you ever find yourself at a tea house by Inya Lake and lock eyes with someone local, just know that could be the start of a conversation that flows as naturally as the peaceful view around you. Want to know how to really connect with them? Drop the number 8 in the comments. I'll share the rest behind the scenes. There aren't many places in the world where a smile feels like a shared treasure. But in Myanmar, it kind of is. It shows up with the first wave at the airport, lights up the face of the flower seller on the sidewalk, and sticks around in every casual chat. Tucked between Thailand, China, and other Southeast Asian neighbors, the country holds on to a way of life that seems to move in the opposite direction of the global rush. There, the long yi, that long piece of fabric worn by both men and women, basically takes care of the whole wardrobe. No stress about fashion trends or brand names. Walk around the streets and you'll notice that even though the average income barely clears $1,400 a year, life revolves around simple joys: a steaming bowl of noodles for breakfast, shared laughs on doorsteps, and group prayers to close out the day. And there are some cool quirks too. Last names? Not a thing. Every kid gets a name based on the day of the week they were born. Each day links to an animal, a direction, and a personality trait. A combo that stays with them for life. Picture this: drivers, tuk-tuks, and street vendors all battling for every inch of road in a chaotic flow that, somehow, just works. That's everyday life in Myanmar. And right away you'll notice something odd. Cars drive on the right side of the road like in the US, but the steering wheel is also on the right, like in the UK or Japan where people drive on the left. This switch happened back in 1970, when the government suddenly decided to change the side of the road people drive on. The decision reportedly came from a spiritual advisor, not an engineer. But the country kept importing Japanese cars, which have the steering wheel on the right. The result? Today, about 90% of vehicles still run with that setup, which means drivers have to watch oncoming traffic from the wrong side of the car. In big cities, that makes every pass or lane change a bit of a gamble, especially during rush hour. And yet, the system works, thanks to a mix of local driving skills and an unspoken understanding between everyone sharing the road. Do you know of any other place where people drive on the right using right-hand drive cars? Drop it in the comments. Your answer might show up in the next video. Why, in the 21st century, do people in Myanmar still start and end their day with a steaming kettle in hand? To understand that, you need to step into the tea houses that dot nearly every street corner in the country. There, the amber liquid isn't just a drink. It's the thread that weaves together late-night chats, wedding receptions, and the pause after a big lunch. The numbers back it up. In 2023, the average Burmese person drank between 2 and 4 cups a day. That's nearly 1,200 a year. And even with such devotion to tea, the counters in these tea houses hold space for another ritual: cow spiat. Coffee is slowly filtered through a small aluminum strainer. With each drop, a rich aroma fills the air, soon meeting sweetened condensed milk and sugar. The result is thick, sweet, and, interestingly, served right next to a cup of green tea. The contrast keeps the mind sharp while the taste buds wander. But the story doesn't end in the cup. In Myanmar, tea is also something you chew. Lafet thok, a salad made from fermented tea leaves, is mixed with roasted peas, fried garlic, and a squeeze of lime. The crunchy textures and subtle tang turn every bite into a reminder that, here, time is a key ingredient. When the first hot air balloon streaks across the copper-colored sky, Bagan reveals itself. Over 2,200 temples scattered across a red earth plain, a scene that makes you feel like you've stepped back in time. For as little as $5 a day, you can rent an e-bike and explore these sacred sites like you're on your own private adventure. From the ancient capital, the journey heads toward Yangon. That's where you'll find the Shwedagon Pagoda, a national treasure, almost 100 meters tall, about the height of a 30-story building, covered in more than 60 tons of pure gold. Rubies, sapphires, and diamonds create a mosaic that lights up with reflections at sunset. At the very top, a 72-carat diamond seals the show, earning the site its nickname, the richest spiritual bank in the world. Keep going and you'll reach Inla Lake, where Intha fishermen steer their boats using just one leg wrapped around a paddle. You're gliding across a calm lake. A sip of coconut water and the boatman balances on one leg, looping the other around his paddle in a kind of dance you'd never see in a big city. The destination? Ngapali, the beach known as Asia's secret Maldives. The sand is soft and white, the water crystal clear, and tourists are few and far between. Staying there runs about $50 to $80 a night, less than what you'd pay just for the view in a standard room in most major cities. If you're looking to slow down and take a real break from the daily grind, Myanmar offers untouched waters, a laid-back way of life, and expenses that come out to about half of what you'd spend in the US. Ready to hop off the boat? Drop a comment now. Think you've seen it all when it comes to celebrations? Just wait until you check out Myanmar's calendar. Every month brings a different kind of magic, and trust me, picking where to start is no easy task. April kicks things off with Thing Yan, the water festival. For 4 days, the streets turn into makeshift rivers. Trucks park and become stages. Speakers blast the latest hits, and people of all ages go all in on soaking each other. With temps pushing 100 degrees Fahrenheit, getting sprayed with a hose feels both refreshing and fun. And according to tradition, it also washes away bad vibes from the past year. As the months roll on, the sky takes center stage in Shan State. In November, the Tongi Balloon Festival lights up the night with giant floating figures, from dragons to superheroes. As each balloon rises, fireworks shoot off underneath it, creating a tunnel of sparks in the sky. People who've been say it's like stepping into a shared dream. It's even earned the nickname Asia's Burning Man, and draws hundreds of thousands every year. Then in October, Thatting Ute, the Festival of Lights, wraps things up. Temples, houses, and bridges glow with rows of candles and twinkling lights, stretching as far as the eye can see. It honors Buddha's return from the heavenly realm, but it's also a time for personal rituals. Kids ask their parents for forgiveness, young people bring flowers to elders, and for a brief moment the whole country seems to whisper gratitude. 3 festivals, 3 unforgettable ways to feel Myanmar come alive. Which one's landing at the top of your bucket list? Burmese cuisine. Golden flavors the rest of the world's missing out on. Our food tour kicks off at first light in Myanmar, when most breakfast tables are greeted with the same steaming dish, mohinga. This catfish broth gets its flavor from lemongrass, turmeric, and chickpea flour, all wrapped around tender rice noodles. It's simple, comforting, and so beloved that plenty of locals eat it every single day of the week. If you're more into something fried, you won't wait long. Shan noodles are a mountain region staple. Rice noodles come topped with minced chicken, a rich tomato-based sauce, and fresh herbs. It gives off spaghetti vibes, but it's way lighter, leaving room for what's next. That next flavor? The bold yet low-key nga tamen. Think turmeric-stained rice with garlic oil, served alongside crispy freshwater fish, crunchy onions, roasted peanuts, and a handful of herbs. It's a must-have during traditional festivals, but honestly, it fits into any meal of the day. And to wrap it all up, we dive into the creamy goodness of An No Khao Sui. Noodles swimming in coconut broth with chicken, a boiled egg, and fried onions. One of those dishes where your spoon keeps going back for more until the bowl's wiped clean. Did this food tour through Myanmar win you over? Drop a 7 below to show you're ready to taste your way through this menu that's as mysterious as it is delicious. What if I told you there's a capital city where you can hear your own footsteps echo on the pavement, even on a 20-lane avenue? Welcome to Naypyidaw, the most mysterious metropolis in Southeast Asia. Spread out over 2,700 square miles, 6 times the size of New York, 4 times that of Los Angeles. This city was born in 2005, designed down to the last detail to be a model for 21st century urban life. Endless parks, choreographed fountains, a national museum, a zoo, a golf course. Everything in place, everything brand new. What's missing? People. Fewer than 1 million residents live across an area bigger than the entire state of Delaware, making Naypyidaw one of the least densely populated capitals on the planet. By day, men and women in long yis stroll calmly across the massive avenues, drive empty taxis, or sip tea under the shade of ancient trees. No honking, no rush. When the sun goes down, there are no neon signs or gridlocked roads. Soft yellow lights stretch across the wide streets where, with no cars in sight, you could literally lie down in the middle of the road and snap a photo, without a worry. At the night markets, the conversations are hushed. The air smells of fermented tea leaf salad and freshly served shan noodles. Some call Naypyidaw a city of the future delivered too early. Others say it's the world's most hidden capital. Maybe it doesn't need noisy crowds, just someone curious enough to find beauty in the silence. Think that explorer might be you? How much do you really need to live well in Yangon in 2025? Grab a pen and paper. These numbers might surprise you. Let's start with the biggest expense for most people: housing. A modern one-bedroom apartment runs about $300 a month. Add around $50 for utilities, electricity, water, and gas, and you've got your basics covered. Good internet is a must. A fast, stable fiber connection that can handle remote work and streaming without a hiccup costs about $30. So far, you're looking at a total of $380. Now, food. If you're into local spots, hot meals go for $1 to $3. Cooking at home? You're looking at around $150 a month. That brings us to about $530. Almost there. Getting around? Grab rides and buses cost anywhere from just a few cents to a few bucks. Set aside $50 a month and you're good to go with zero hassle. Lastly, a gym membership, your daily coffee fix, and some essentials add another $70. And there you have it, living comfortably in Myanmar's biggest city for around $650 to $750 a month. Life in Yangon is easy on the wallet and rich in experience. Would you make the move? If yes, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. I'm curious to see what you'd choose. Ever heard of a traffic jam with no engines, no headlights, and no honking? In Myanmar, it happens every single morning before sunrise. Between 4:30 and 6 a.m., the streets turn into a quiet flow of earth-colored robes. Hundreds of young monks leave their monasteries, walking in a single line, black alms bowls glinting in the early light. At every corner, locals wait with freshly cooked rice, bunches of bananas, and small curries. Elders, adults, and kids offer the food with both hands, heads slightly bowed, and then bring their palms together. A gesture meant to earn merit, build karma, and maybe even bring some balance to their own lives. For the Burmese, serving the monks isn't a duty, it's an honor. That's why many wake up before the first rooster crows. Nearly 500,000 people in the country wear the robe. That's over 1% of the population. It's part of why, in Myanmar, meditation doesn't stay locked inside temples. It moves through streets, slips down alleys, connects generations, and cuts across social classes. And when the sun finally rises, that traffic jam disappears as quickly as it came. But the impact of those offerings, that sticks with everyone involved for the rest of the day, and maybe, as they believe, for a whole lifetime. You're standing in front of a granite boulder, heavy as a freight train, shaped like a giant egg, and covered in gold leaf. It rests right on the edge of a cliff 3,600 feet above sea level, balanced on a spot so small it looks like a trick of gravity. This is Naypyidaw, Myanmar's Golden Rock. For millions of devotees, it's more than just a tourist spot. It's a gateway between the earthly and the sacred. Nearby signs warn of landslides and tremors, but the rock doesn't budge. Torrential rains and strong winds shake the trees all around. Yet the boulder stays perfectly still, like Newton's laws decided to take a break right there. Why? Geologists have measured cracks, run mass distribution models, even simulated collapses. None of it adds up. The local belief is much simpler. A single strand of Buddha's hair, kept inside the tiny pagoda on top, is holding everything in place. And legend adds one more layer. Only those who've earned enough spiritual merit can truly see the perfect balance. And traditionally, only men are allowed to touch the glowing surface. Somewhere between science and whispered prayers, one thing is clear. Here, physics and faith are locked in a quiet standoff, and the outcome is still undecided. At first glance, traditional Burmese dance seems to defy logic. The dancer's body barely moves, but every hand gesture, every slight tilt of the head, every sway of the hips tells a silent story. The feet? They hardly budge. They're the anchor that lets the rest of the body float. In this centuries-old art form called Zat Pui, it's the tiniest movements that carry the whole performance. A flick of the wrist can say more than a full sentence. A subtle bow can seal an invisible agreement, and the slow rhythm forces your eyes to catch every little detail, like reading living calligraphy. The costumes make the whole thing even more magical. They're not just outfits. The men wear embroidered long yis that catch the light like hammered metal. The women sparkle in four-piece ensembles with fresh flowers in their hair, turning the stage into a breathing painting. For 10 or 15 minutes, these almost still characters hold the audience completely captivated by every inch of movement. None of it happens by accident. Months of training stiffen the legs to keep the feet grounded, while the hands and neck become incredibly flexible. That contrast is where the magic lives, hips swaying without moving the body, creating the illusion of floating. Most people walk away in disbelief. One American tourist put it best. He's seen ballets in Paris, but never watched someone control their own center of gravity so precisely, while barely moving at all. Asia's most fascinating tribes. Ever imagined living in a place where streets are canals and your main engine is a paddle strapped to your leg? On the vast waters of Inla Lake, in Myanmar's Shan State, that's exactly how the Intha people move through their day. Narrow boats glide across nearly 70 square kilometers of water, and each leg-powered stroke from the fishermen creates a silent performance that dry land just can't compete with. But their skills go way beyond getting around. The Intha actually build land where there isn't any. They gather moss, water hyacinths, and roots, weave them into floating mats, and anchor them until they become solid floating gardens. Tomatoes, green beans, herbs. These island farms feed entire villages. Cooking, studying, trading. It all happens on wooden platforms or homes raised on stilts, making life on the lake feel like a humble Venice, minus the crowds. Now let's leave the water and head up into the thin air of the Chin Mountains, still in Myanmar, where another rare skill outsmarts modern tech, a GPS based entirely on sound. Here, locals listen to the wind whispering through the valleys, read the echo of rivers, and sense cave vibrations to pinpoint exactly where they are. It's a science passed down from grandparents to grandkids, practiced in forests so dense that cell signals can't even break through. One anthropologist likened it to dolphin sonar. But in this case, the sender and receiver are both inside the human brain. Two very different cultures, connected by one powerful thread, adapting so deeply to their environment that it becomes home. If these stories sparked your curiosity, hit that subscribe button and come explore more with us. There's a whole world of wonder waiting just beyond the screen. See you soon.